I keep a close watch on this heart of mine. I keep my eyes wide open all the time. I keep the ends out for the tie that binds. Because you're mine, I walk the line. Because you're mine. Now, quite often we think of these songs as love songs. And they are. But let's think of Jesus in those words of this song by Johnny Cash. I Walk the Line, Johnny Cash, one of my all-time favorites. And see if we see things a little bit different. I keep a close watch on this heart of mine. I keep my eyes wide open all the time. I keep the ends out for the tie that binds. Because you're mine, I walk the line. As sure as night is dark and day is light, I keep you on my mind both day and night. And happiness I've known proves that it's right. Because you're mine, I walk the line. You've got a way to keep me on your side. You give me cause for love that I can't hide. For you I know I'd even try to turn the tide. Because you're mine, I walk the line. Okay, enough of that. Okay, listen. Isn't it interesting that a lot of love songs, if you can put Christ in those, and it really is. It's the marriage. It's the marriage. It's Christ and his church. It's Christ and his bride, right? And so there's a lot of love songs, especially in the 60s and 70s, that you can obviously think about a couple, but you can also think about us and our relationship with our Savior, Jesus Christ. So many cool things have happened here. Okay, we had the conjunction of the planets. My wife and I were out on the front porch, and it was a perfect night. I had my spotting scope, we had binoculars. My son called me and said, "Hey, I can see it," and I was like, "Where? I can't," and so anyway, he helped us locate it in the sky, and it was really beautiful. And I have an app. It's called Starwalk 2, and I've had it for a few years. And you can hold your. I have an iPad Mini, and I can hold it up to the horizon, the sky, and it'll show me the current constellations and signs, and we could see that. And it also showed that Pluto was right up in there too. And I think we saw 5 planets or 6 planets at last night. The other thing that was so interesting to me was how fast it just disappeared. It was gone. You couldn't see it in the sky. And someone else has mentioned this on our channel, commented on the thought about the 10 virgins and the 5 virgins that were ready. Boom. The door was shut. Boom. The wedding began. Boom. And then the others were like, what just happened? And I thought, what if dinner or something was more important, than watching that? And I know some of you missed it and you had things, so I'm not trying to make you feel guilty, but I'm just saying that if that was a big thing for you, but something came up that just sort of distracted you, and then the next thing you know, you went out, it's gone. It's gone. There's so many parallels. Speaking of parallels, let's go to the scriptures. Helaman, chapter 16. But it came to pass, verse 13. Helaman 16:13. But it came to pass in the 19th year of the reign of the judges, there were great signs given unto the people and wonders, and the words of the prophets began to be fulfilled. Hello, McFly, anybody home? And angels did appear unto men. And then it said, wise men. I just love this. And did declare unto them glad tidings of great joy. Thus, in this year, the scriptures began to be fulfilled. The verbiage is almost identical to what happened in the old world, east of Jerusalem. I'm going to do a video on that right prior to Christmas on my thought about the wise men. Okay. But we'll save that one. Nevertheless, the people began to harden their hearts. Have we seen that? And have we seen it within the bride, the church, right? Nevertheless, the people began to harden their hearts, all save it were the most believing part of them, both of the Nephites and also of the Lamanites, and began to depend upon their own strength and upon their own wisdom, saying, some things they may have guessed right among so many, but behold, we know that all these great and marvelous works cannot come to pass of which has been spoken. Have you heard that before? You know, all the second coming stuff, everybody's been talking about this forever. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Oh, woe unto them that thinketh he delayeth his coming. Well, okay. I would suggest we keep reading this. And they began to reason and to contend among themselves, saying that it is not reasonable that such a being as Christ shall come. And they began to reason and contend among themselves, saying that it is not reasonable that such a being as Christ shall come. If so, he being the Son of God, the Father of heaven and earth, as had been spoken, why will he not show himself unto us as well as to them, as well as unto them who shall be at Jerusalem? So they just start explaining things away, like this isn't going to happen. Well, the signs are being shown in the heavens over and over and over again. We've had the volcano in Hawaii. Hello. There's a lot of talk going on in Israel about the anniversary, and I can't think of the guy's name, but the Iranian military leader who was killed, I think right around January 2nd of this year, 2020, maybe the 4th, maybe it was the 4th, and that the Iranian regime is going to do a counterattack on American interests in the Middle East. It's, you know, there's some things lining up that way. And speaking of war, you know, there's a lot of theories about the war chapters in the Book of Mormon, why so many, and you know, we've talked a little bit about it on this channel. The thought came to me, there's been a real silence by President Trump and those around him. There's a little bit of information going in and out, but not much. And the media is not covering much. And you can just feel an uneasiness about whether Joe Biden and his running mate, if are they really the president-elect? You know, you can just tell. I have a hard time watching the news anymore, but what little bit I get, you can just tell there's an uneasiness. And I just had this thought, and I've watched some other channels and things, and so that I'm not everything is original, right? But this part is, I think, to me, is that, remember the strategies in the Book of Mormon with Helaman and Captain Moroni and whatnot, where the enemy was really entrenched in a city, and the good guys, let's just say the good guys, wanted and needed to recapture that city and get all the prisoners released. Some of them were women and children. And they just didn't know how to do it because they had actually fortified that city, and now the enemy had that city. Now think of the parallels within our government, the judicial system, and all the things going on, how infiltrated it's been with the secret combinations. And they're actually using this great and wonderful system an inspired government, a form of government that allowed the restitution of the gospel, the restoration, I should say. The whole Joseph Smith story, if you will, was allowed to happen because of inspired men and women who formed this country under the inspiration of the Almighty. So the very secret combinations, if you will, are using this beautiful structure to fortify and dig in, just like the bad guys did in the Book of Mormon. We're just going to call them bad guys and good guys. Let's keep it simple, right? It's like all these super cool Westerns I love. I love Silverado. I love with Duvall and Kevin Costner. Dang it, what's the name of it? Anyway, where you have real defined good guys and bad guys, and the good guys win. This is the scenario of the good guys winning. So in the Book of Mormon, in the war chapters, we have these bad guys are dug in. They have prisoners, and the very fortress that they have was built by the good guys, right? So they develop a strategy which was very unique and never used before. And it was to have a small number of individuals kind of hanging out. So it was tempting for the enemy, the bad guys, to come out and kill them. And it lured them out of their stronghold. It lured them out. And you can see that happening right now. People are being exposed for being treasonous and doing illegal acts. And I don't want to get real political here, but you can see the fraud, you can see the deception, you can see different levels of the court system and how corrupt it is. And this is that solid platform and organization that was built for good, but it got taken over. And now we have an individual who's luring them out, and they're revealing themselves. And my hope is that in the very, very near future, probably by January 6th or somewhere around there, these guys are going to come out of that. Well, they've already started coming out of the strongholds, and now they're going to get attacked by the good guys that have been quiet and hiding and waiting, patiently waiting. But these guys had to expose themselves. They had to come out. They had to come out of their stronghold. And it seems like they've been exposing. So that's a theory, a thought of mine, right? Okay. I have to emphasize, I am never speaking for on behalf of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. This is all just my opinion. I'm not a prophet. I never claim to be, but I just have thoughts and ideas, and I like to express them. And if you don't like it, just go to another channel. It's awesome. That's what's so cool. Still, we still have some freedoms in this country. So that was my thought about what could be happening in the next couple of weeks, and why maybe these war chapters are so critical for us is that we're actually in a war. And we're going to witness things that have happened and how the deep state, the secret combinations can be exposed and conquered by being lured out and exposing themselves. Okay, all right. So that's that. I wanted to cover that. Let's see. Is there anything else? Yes. Here's something I thought. Okay. Oh, I've got to go get something really quick. Have you all read, this is awesome. I can't believe I didn't bring it in. Have you all read the new Liahona? Actually, I'm not going to go get it. You guys have to read President Nelson's talk or his statement in the first of its kind, Liahona. It's replaced the ensign. It's the January 2021, and it's his talk. And he talks about President Hales and the last moments of his life, and it's very touching how President Nelson goes to him in between sessions of conference to be with him. It's really touching. And then President Nelson quotes in the Pearl of Great Price, the Joseph Smith version of Matthew 24. He quotes him twice, and he refers to the pestilence and famines as what the Savior says is going to precede his coming, as what's happening right now. So folks, the prophet's telling us. He's telling us. This is a really great talk. And, I'm not going to say that the prophet speaks in code, but you do have to look at footnotes, and you do have to see where his sources are coming from. And the conference talks were no different. So here's one that a little gem that just popped out of me. Okay, so here's my little white handbook from my mission, not my mission as a youngster, but my mission as a mission president. And I don't know if you can see that at all, but anyway, President Monson. And while we were at the Mission President Seminar being instructed, and I cannot verify this, but I'm pretty sure it was President Nelson, then Elder Nelson, and he was he was the apostle that was given the assignment over missionary work. I believe now it's President Uchtdorf, or Elder Uchtdorf. And when we went on our mission, it was President Nelson, or then Elder Nelson. And here's a quote. It's in the section called Missionary Conduct, okay? And I better say that I'm not positive. I feel pretty strongly it was President Nelson, but it was one of the apostles. And they said something very, very, very important was left out of the handbook, and we want you to handwrite it in. And I was so nervous being there. I can't even understand my notes at the Mission President Seminar. And so I didn't write who told us this, but it's a quote by Brigham Young. And it might still be in the White Handbook, I don't know, of missionaries. But President Young taught, if you go on a mission to preach the gospel with lightness and frivolity in your hearts, looking for this and that, and to learn what is in the world, and then it just has ... you will go and return in vain. And that was the quote. And whichever apostle it was who talked to us, sorry about this sun in my eyes here, said one of the most important things was left out of here. So somebody from the missionary department probably got in trouble for leaving this out. And he goes, we want you to write this in. And here's the full quote. Here's the full quote. If you go on a mission to preach the gospel with lightness and frivolity in your hearts, looking for this and that, and to learn what is in the world, and not having your minds riveted, and then Brigham Young says, yes, I may say riveted, on the cross of Christ, you will go and return in vain. Now, why would they leave that out of the handbook? And I'm going to say it was President Nelson. He said, write this in there, riveted on the cross of Christ. Now, riveted at the time of Brigham Young was the most binding thing you could do. You know, we didn't really have welding, and we didn't have, some of the things that we can do these days of locking things together. And so the thing that came to his mind was riveting our minds on the cross. Now, this is what prompted all this in my head. I was rereading the message that the prophet gave at the Christmas devotional, and this is what he said. President Nelson said, there is nothing more important. Now, when I hear the prophet say that, I wake up. There is nothing more important we can do this Christmas than to rivet, and that's the word that got me, rivet our focus on the Savior and on the gift of what his life really means to each of us. Boom, the word rivet. And that was a confirmation that I think I was right. I think it was President Nelson who said that at the Mission President Seminar, to handwrite that in. That should not have been left out. Okay? Should not have been left out. our minds, our hearts, our feelings need to be riveted on the Savior, and specifically what Brigham Young said is riveted on the cross. You know, if you look at the end of John, the Gospel of John, it's on the cross where Christ said it is finished. And in my opinion, only the Savior could say when it was done. And that's when he said it was finished, what his work was. Obviously, the resurrection and all that. But that was God resurrecting him. Christ had to do what he had to do, and then God did the rest. Just like we have to do what we have to do, and Christ will do the rest for us. But we rivet ourselves on our mind on the cross. It's just so powerful. There's a whole thing to be talked about there. But the Missionary Handbook missed something. And a prophet of God added it and put it in there, riveted on the cross. So with that, you great and wonderful people, your comments are so awesome and fill my heart with joy. Sue and I just love reading them. She's the best. She'll be back on again. Had somebody say, you guys need to pace yourself, and you're going to get burned out. And I said, there's no burning out here. There's no burning out. And I feel like there's a hastening. So as there's thoughts and things coming into my mind, I'm going to be on here and I'm going to be posting because I do feel an urgency. I mean, I could die anytime, and then that's when I get to meet the Savior. Or he could actually be coming, or these signs could become so intense. I mean, think if the powers that be, the evil powers, were able to just wipe out information, the information highway, the internet, and all other things. Think of how, we better be riveted to the scriptures, and why we'd want to be riveted to the scriptures, because they lead us to the Savior. And with that, I'm out. You guys have a great day. Signs are everywhere. They're everywhere. Just look for them. Just look for them. Love you all. Bye.